Sadiq Khan is set to buy back council homes to help Afghan refugees settle in London following the Afghanistan crisis, as the UK pledges to help resettle 20,000 refugees. The scheme will help thousands who have fled Afghanistan following the Taliban takeover seek sanctuary, after jihadist extremists seized control of the nation's capital Kabul on August 15. Following the seizure, chaos erupted across the area, with civilians surging toward the airport and clinging to aircraft leaving the runway in an attempt to flee. Babies were also seen being passed to guards in hopes of safety, while stampedes and surges of people attempted to board flights leaving the capital. Extractions are still taking place to evacuate citizens and military personnel in the region, and the government has committed to resettling 20,000 refugees over time. The London mayor, who referred to the situation in Afghanistan as alarming, will help councils and housing associations to find accommodation for the refugees across the capital. He hopes to provide sanctuary to those fleeing the country, particularly women and children, and religious and other minorities. The move will be an expansion of Sadiq Khan's right to buy back fund, which will help councils and boroughs to resettle those affected by the Middle East crisis. In a letter to the Housing, Communities and Local Government Secretary Robert Jenrick MP, the mayor said, "The unfolding situation in Afghanistan is a tragedy and it is utterly heartbreaking to witness. We must do all we can to support the Afghan people during this terrible time, and I welcome the Prime Minister's commitment this morning to resettle up to 20,000 Afghans over a long stretch of time." He said, "Our city has a proud history of providing refuge to those seeking sanctuary, and we again stand ready to help. I urge ministers to now step forward and give boroughs the financial support they need to resettle Afghan families and help them to establish a long-term future in our open and welcoming city." In his letter, the London mayor also made reference to the efforts made by London in 2015 to accommodate Syrian refugees and pledges to do the same in the wake of the current humanitarian crisis. Mr. Khan is also encouraging housing associations to apply for funding for homes that can be delivered at pace to those in need. The resettlement effort has already been backed by many, including council leaders in Hammersmith and Fulham, Newham and Brent. Currently, the UK government has plans to resettle 5,000 Afghan refugees within a year, 1/4 of the long-term target. Home Secretary Priti Patel recently stated in a media interview that the UK cannot accommodate 20,000 people in one go. She told Sky News, "We have to ensure we have the support structures throughout the United Kingdom. We will be working with local councils throughout the country, the devolved governments as well." She explained that the UK government is working quickly on this and is currently bringing back almost 1,000 people a day in what she called an enormous effort. In his plans, Mr. Khan has outlined support in areas such as health and education, and supporting social integration in addition to housing support. He said, "It is essential that refugees can establish a long-term future in the UK, be supported to learn English and skills that enable them to find employment." The letter ended with the mayor recognizing and appreciating that the government is working round the clock to help avert a refugee crisis. He reiterated his offer to support them in their attempts to re-home the refugees in what he calls our open and welcoming city.